Hello everyone, and welcome to the reading of Digimon Liberator DEBUG.2-2, Part 2. Similar to my other readings, I'm not a professional voice actor, and I'm just one person doing their best, so if the voices change not only episode to episode, but line to line, I'm just kind of doing the best I can. I'm not trained in this, just doing it for fun. So don't roast me too much, and don't expect amazing production quality. I'm not a studio, I'm just kind of just one guy in his home office just doing this for fun. So please don't roast me too much and just enjoy for what it is. I recommend heading to the official release on digimoncard.com or digimon.net if listening to my audio reading is your primary way of consuming the Digimon Liberator web novel. Partially so Bandai still gets the site visits, but also because each chapter, like with Digimon Seekers, the previous Digimon web novel over on digimon.net, each chapter has some pretty cool art, and Digimon Liberator has actual visuals of each card that's mentioned throughout the story. While the mechanics are actually included in the reading, if you want to see the actual card itself, head over to the official novel release over on digimoncard.com. And with all that out of the way, let's continue on to Digimon Liberator Debug, Chapter 2, Part 2. From post-apocalyptic landscape to districts lined with traditional Japanese homes, diverse green vistas dot the invasive forest city of the Emerald Colonies. Among them, the ruins replicating a rainforest during the monsoon season stood out with an unusual, lush vitality in this otherwise tranquil area. The deeper greens and the calls of birds and animals heard from out of sight would make anyone unaware that this is a virtual reality space. Such is their realisticness that one can't help fearing a jaguar might emerge from the towering trees above. In any case, there's no use being paranoid about things that don't exist. Winra wiped a bead of sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand, his expression unchanged as he focused on the battle unfolding before him. Facing him, in front of a vine-entangled stone pyramid reminiscent of ancient Central American civilizations, stood an NPC dressed like a priest, ready to perform a sacrificial ritual. Appropriately for their appearance, the NPC was using a multicolored deck. Already on the playing field were two formidable level 6 creatures. One is Eldoradimon, a colossal turtle adorned with a fortress on its back. The other is Saberleomon Ace, an ancient beast with gleaming fangs. In these battles in Lacuna, where one can see the Digimon at scale, the awesomeness of these two mighty Digimon felt greater than their actual specs. No, not yet, Winra thought. This isn't the end. There's more to come. It was the kind of tension he felt. It was then a hot wind swept through the jungle. Saberleomon and Eldoradimon were enveloped in intense light. DNA Digivolution, huh? Debug Chapter 2, Part 2, Good Game. A sudden squall pours down on Winra, whose gaze stiffens just slightly behind his glasses. In his virtual reality, you can't physically get wet. Yet, the intensity of the downpour almost made him want to take cover. So overwhelming was the deluge. Beyond the curtain of rain appeared an embodiment of rain and thunder. A digital monster both serene and fierce, gathering the faith of all creatures of the land in its presence. Tlakmon. As Winra murmurs, the ground beneath him expanded. It was to be expected that a god is always accompanied by its guardians. Tlakmon's effect. Summoned from the depths of the earth were Jagamon and Shogun Gekomon. It was a forceful move, assertively disregarding cost. This must be the bing, bang and boom that Yuki had talked about. Facing them for the first time, it makes sense that she was caught off guard. The squall whips Winra's cheeks hard. Facing a deity in such a location, it felt as though he was the villain encroaching on thriving nature. With its agitated atmosphere, the jungle itself seemed allied against him. "Stay cool, Winnie!" a familiar voice called from above him. His partner is always perceptive of his emotions. Winra offered a slight smile and raised his voice. "I'm alright, Vespamon. You are to become the queen of your hive. Leave the details to me and watch your army come together." Winra wasn't just watching his opponent's moves passively. He had been steadily using the effects of everyone in Royal Base to add cards face up to his security stack, and in combination with the Tamer card, had built up a strong nest. The NPC, wary of unfamiliar tactics, attacked the security stack and Winra's essential Digimon. Undaunted, the giant forager Beamon and the knightly Vespamon, equipped with a lance and a beam shield, thwarted at them. But that wasn't all. Other Digimon like Waspmon and Cannon Beamon also darted about, provoking the opponent. Above Winra, the key element he was betting on grew gradually larger. The smallest units were tiny hexagonal prisms, seemingly meaningless on their own. Each was carefully guarded, collected, and assembled, sometimes at the cost of a life. This is their headquarters and home, the aerial beehive called the Royal Base. Alright. Winra pushes back his range-wrenched hair. Despite having momentarily lost his composure under pressure, a second glance showed the battle situation wasn't bad at all. In fact, the construction of the hive was going smoothly. The opponent, cautious of his unpredictable actions, had made the first move. From a general viewpoint, they had the upper hand. "The more unpredictable the opponent's deck, the more you need to push through your moves without panic, Yuki," Winra said to himself as if criticising and taunting his absent friend. And with that, he regained his composure. Now it was his turn. There were 4 face-up cards in his security stack. It's time. At Winra's snap, his partner was enveloped in light. "Alright, Winnie, watch me as I become a queen!" A light soared toward the pinnacle of the royal base, where there stood a golden royal throne. Adorned with bee motifs, it was an independent structure equipped with arm units and 6 multifunctional limbs. Emerging from the light was Queen Beamon, her 6 iridescent wings fluttering as she was welcomed onto the throne. The ruler and architect of the royal base settled gracefully into her place. "Whoa, hey, our armor's getting all thin over here. Hey you, provide some backup. And you over there, haven't you been resting at all? There's a recipe for disaster, take 5. Why is she standing on top of the throne? Winra looked up at Queen Beamon with a mix of amusement and exasperation. It may be because of the royal throne was oversized. Still, Queen Beamon was bustling about on top of it like a performer on a stage, furiously managing every corner of the vast base, issuing commands, and occasionally, at what might be fan service, winking at the worker bees. "Hey, Queen Beamon." Sorry, Winnie, it's just a great view up here, and I got a bit carried away." Caring, maybe too much, Winra thought, recognizing all too well the qualities of his partner. Perhaps this was its way of embodying its role as a queen. "Seriously? We're in the middle of a battle, my queen." Winra's lips curl into a gentle smile as he speaks to his partner. "We've prepared our path to victory. The command is yours to give." Right. Everyone's worked so hard to get us here." Clearing its throat, Queen Beamon unfurls its fan, its green eyes sparkling beneath its mast. "Alright, everyone, to battle once more. Let's show them our strength." "Let's go, Queen Beamon, attack." First an attack from the Queen to begin the offensive. Its target is the opponent's security stack, but... "Your Queen commands you, come forth." Reducing the security stack was important as activating Queen Beamon's attacking effect. The Queen's ability calls forth a Digimon in the royal base from the security stack. When attacking, once per turn, you may play 1 Digimon card with the royal base trait from your face-up security stack with the play cost reduced by 8. Responding to her command, a beam of light bursts from the beehive. Responding to her command, a beam of light bursts from the beehive. Descending onto the battlefield was a knight clad in golden armor, a member of the Bee's Army Royal Command, Tiger Vespamon. Thanks to Queen Beamon's effect, the play cost was reduced to 4. Also, reader's note, it actually did say responding to her command, a beam of light burst from the beehive twice. That wasn't me just reading over that twice, that was just, yeah. That was exactly verbatim how it was written. Anyway, back to the reading. On play. When digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon for each face-up card in your security stack. Then, all of your opponent's Digimon can't unsuspend until the end of their turn. With Tiger Vestmon's deployment, 3 face-up cards remained in the security stack. With fluid movements, the Knight managed to overwhelm Talakmon, Shokungekomon, and Jargamon, pinning them down. Next turn, those Digimon would remain immobilized. Thus, the battle is no longer in the balance. It is now tipped in Winra's favour. All according to plan. Unnoticed, the buzzing of bees had overtaken the murmur of the jungle. The hive is impregnable, and the soldiers gathered to protect it. From the queen at the apex to the single worker bee, their thoughts were synchronized. The swarm for the hive, and the hive for the swarm. That was the golden principle that the bees upheld. Whatever moves the opponent made next, they would parry and hit back twofold. I won't let anyone break my bond with Winra or my royal base! That's right, Winra affirms Queen Beemon's declaration. He'd never thought about fighting hand in hand with anyone. Yuki was the first to reach out, and afterward, Fun Beemon took his hand. This isn't so bad, he thought. What's up, Winnie? Queen Beemon, calling down from its throne, seemed to see right through him as if to say it knew all along. Winra purses his lips as if to hide the emotions behind his glasses. Until the wind was wrapped up, he wanted to remain composed. And so he made a statement. I've seen the path to victory. The game's over. Good game. Thanks for playing. Trust in your friends should be expressed through a clear declaration of victory. Still, when you think about it, Fun Beemon mutters pensively as they stroll back from the ruins, discussing various uses for the items that the NPC dropped. What is it? Wasn't today's battle essentially revenge for Yuki? I've told you it wasn't. I didn't come here to do such a pointless thing, Winra replied with his usual stern face. His words sincere. It wouldn't make Yuki happy to have someone win on her behalf. I thought your face said otherwise. Fun Beemon cocks its head, puzzled by its rare misjudgment, while Winra just shrugs. But Yuki and Itmon are probably done bickering by now, and starting to revise their strategy for a rematch. That sounds likely, but I don't think they'll be able to perfect it, not without help. You're quite sharp, aren't you, Winnie? It was a familiar cycle. Yuki and Itmon were predictable, and even without Fun Beemon's keen observational skills, one could guess what was happening. When she gets stuck, she'll definitely come crying to us. Winnie. That's why I need to be ready. It won't be good to look as a teacher if I'm clueless, right? Though he tried to sound casual, Winra's ears were a telltale shade of red, betraying his embarrassment. A detail Fun Beemon noticed without needing to focus. Winnie! Whoa, what is it? Overwhelmed, Fun Beemon hugs Winra tightly, making him cry out in shock. What's up with you, Fun Beemon? Hey, Winnie, can I ask you one more thing? Sure. His eyebrows are knitted warily, but Winra nods. Fun Beemon's eyes gleam with happiness. Why did you come to Lacuna? Why? At that question, Winra tilts his head, seemingly perplexed. There are lots of reasons. I want to test out the cards I buy, and I'm curious to see how the main scenario pans out. And I have assignments for the debug team. And even if not for that, Yuki makes a fuss if I don't log in. Ah, right. What did you want me to say? Wynn responded, caught off guard by Fun Beemon's enthusiasm. I don't really want to stay at home. Mum and Dad are always fighting. A year ago, Winra answered the same question that way. Fun Beemon wondered if he remembered. Before coming to Lacuna, he used to kill time at cram schools or arcades to stay away from home. He had met Yuki during the beta test, but even then, he made sure not to get too close to anyone. He knew all too well how easily bonds between people could break. Even I'm worried whether we would manage to get along. Perhaps for him, this place was an escape. As a digital being existed only in Lacuna, Fun Beemon is worried about being unable to truly help Winra. But he was indeed starting to change, bit by bit, through his interactions with Yuki and Itmon, and his friendship with his partner. A year ago, he was an intelligent and quick-learning boy, but he couldn't have managed a deck that required overseeing everything and cooperating with teammates like he did today. It was undeniable that Winra had become able to connect with others. That made Funbeamon very happy. Funbeamon, you can let go now. Sorry. Still smiling, Funbeamon returns to his side. Winnie, are you going to log out when we get back? No, I felt good about this deck. I want to battle with it a little more. I'll find someone to play against. That sounds good. We need to show everyone just how great you and I get along. What? Were you even listening to what I said? Come on, let's go. Funbeamon buzzed and sped away. Hey, wait! Although Funbeamon was always playing the role of a helper, maybe it was simply following its own desires. With that thought, Winra hurriedly started giving chase. The breeze of the Emerald Coast carried the spirited voices of the boy and his digital partner, scattering them into the sky. To be continued. So that was it for another chapter. Again, as I mentioned during the reading, there was a line that for some reason, I'm not sure if it was done for emphasis, but was repeated twice. I'm not sure if that's emphasis or if it's a typo or if maybe it's just slightly one word different and I just didn't notice, but it seemed to be exactly the same line just repeated. So I just read these verbatim. So I read over any possible errors that are said, and I did the same with Digimon Seekers, occasionally pointing out any really confusing ones, like whenever characters had the wrong names. I've just always tried to read them as they are written because it is a reading. But in any case, that's it for all of the novel parts for Digimon Liberator that are currently online. I believe the next chunk or part, however they decide to release it, should be in another 2 months from recording this. It's been about a month since all of them got uploaded to DigimonCard.com. So again, I'll be reading them out sort of in a similar way that I've been doing them so far. I'm assuming that it won't be all just one chapter, one clump each 3 months. Hopefully it's just little chapters, because that makes it easier to read out every recording. So it's not like, an hour-long non-stop recording for me, so I can try to actually keep the voices for that reading. But in any case, that is it for Digimon Liberator DEBUG.2-2. So if you enjoyed this, you can contact me on Stat Updated. You can leave me a comment on this episode on YouTube to join in the conversation. But for a full list of ways to find the podcast across the internet, such as YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter, head over to my Linktree, which is linktr.ee/LostinTranslationmon. If you enjoy the podcast or videos, or even just my silly little posts online, you can show your support by signing up on Patreon and get some cool rewards and help me hit some milestones. The rewards are usually just like unedited recordings and early recordings of the podcast, so check that out if you haven't already. And thank you to my current supporters on Patreon, Stephen Reeves, who is 164 on Archive Our Own, Kaidawashi, Chisai, who can follow on Chisai236 on Twitter, Neobu, who says you to follow Chisai on Twitter at Chisai236, Lizmet, who is Electmon on Tumblr, Nicholas, Emery from Gone Will Hunting, a Hunt Hunter Rewatch podcast, Magnus, Lucas, JCMon05, Patrick, Jason, Shelby, Digital Hazard, who's on Twitch at The Digital Hazard, Tropimon, Vmon, Tamer, Kasai, Big Bad, Beetleborg, and Bent Archer. You can also make a donation on PayPal, which we found linked in the description. It's paypal.me/Airdramon. You can also donate to me on my coffee account, ko-fi.com/Airdra. And of course, there's YouTube memberships as well if you want to help support the podcast and the channel financially. But of course, if you can't do that, just tell friends, families, neighbors, enemies, whatever, about the channel, about the podcast. So your verbal word can help just as much as you can financially. But in any case, that's it for another recording. Again, I'm probably going to do a Digimon Liberator video at some point about how it is so far. Spoiler alert, I'm enjoying it so far. I probably wouldn't be doing a reading of it if I wasn't. But so stay tuned for that. And of course, stay tuned for future Digimon Liberator readings. So if you are listening/watching this on YouTube, like this video, comment on this video, and subscribe, and of course hit that bell apparently that helps, so please do the thing. In any case, that's it for this one, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!